welcome back to Cross Stitch the Globe. My name is Stephanie and this is a channel about cross stitch. Today is a video that I knew I needed to make. It's been on the calendar to make in my little content calendar plan, but I didn't want to look instead. But I did, and we're here. It's happening. So today is my 2025 mid-year plans check-in. We're going to check in on my plans, on my Wicca board, and talk about what the rest of the year is going to look like, adjustments I've made based on the data. And then we're going to talk about my 2026 whip down plans and why I'm going to do them and what that means and a little bit of how that's going to happen. So let me open my, I got notes. Before we, I got more notes than I thought I did. Okay, so before we dive in, let me adjust my desk. Okay, so before we dive in, couple things. This weekend you'll see two small, well, I don't know how short, one shortish extra on a midsummer stitch, what I'm doing to prepare for that retreat. I've had enough people ask questions about midsummer stitch, or when I asked do people want check it, a video on how to prepare, people said yes, and they had some specific questions. And the one from last year, Allison and I recorded before there had ever been a midsummer stitch, and so now that there has been one and the event is kind of evolving and growing, it's just outdated and it doesn't make sense to. Whereas I think our Jingle Ball video probably would hold up pretty well, but we'll see when the Jingle Ball announcement stuff comes out. So I am going to record a video this weekend about what I am doing to prepare for midsummer stitch, and some tips and some ideas of what to expect. And hopefully that should be pretty short, but you never know with me. And then I also have a big D-stash that I need to put up on my Etsy store. My friend Allie from Allie's Crafty gave me a bag this big of beautiful fabric and project bags and and Threadworks thread and really cool stuff to D-stash. And then Holly, who is an Instagram friend and who watches the channel, just sent me the sweetest birthday present, and in the birthday present was a stack of vintage charts and books. So I'm going to spend the next couple days trying to get that up on Etsy and then record a D-stash. So today's Thursday, I'll record that D-stash on Saturday. Hopefully it will go up Saturday or Sunday. That video depends entirely on how long it takes me to get this stuff up online. So there should be hopefully a Saturday extra and a Sunday extra. If you're the person that's looking for those videos. So those videos are not for everyone, but if you are looking to buy some nice fabric at a discount, or you're looking for information about going to midsummer stitch, those videos will be coming up. And then Monday's floss tube should be pretty good. I'm not going to say anything about what's going to be in it because things change, but I'm if the floss tube is getting recorded, that I think is getting recorded, I'm very excited about it. So there'll be a lot of videos coming up for me in the next few days. Not every video is aimed at every person, which ones make sense to you, but everyone, I think the floss tube episode is going to be good. All right, so 2025 plans check-in. And my plans for a 2026 whip down. So first of all, what were my goals at the beginning of the year? It's hard to explain how I haven't hit my goals if you don't know what they were. And it's not like I've continually talked about them because things went so far awry so fast with my year that a lot of it hasn't even been mentioned in months. Okay, so my goal at the beginning of the year was to stitch 15,000 stitches a month and to stitch every day. I wanted specifically to stitch on a BAP, which is a big ass project. For me, that's projects that have 20,000 stitches or more. I wanted to have a big chunk of one done every month that I kept through until it was done, and I wanted to restart Village of Hawthorne Hollow as my BAP in January. That did not happen. I wanted to have a daily Mira focus because I have so many memorabilia projects. I love them so much. I wanted to have one that I got out every day of the month. And it didn't matter if they were like to a finish or not, but I just wanted to be making progress on those. I wanted to have pieces that were like small finish focuses. So pieces that had 4,000 stitches-ish or less to that were like very close to a finish. Wanted to pull a couple of those out every month and try to get them done. Jingle Ball Bauble Whipco, which is ornaments from some specific ornament books. I made a board for that. I had 7 pieces that had small monthly goals that were current whips, or one was a new start, 2 were new starts that I wanted to have small monthly goals on to have them finished by the end of the year. And I wanted to start the whips that I had planned out because I had taken 25 whips that I wanted to start this year and put them, separate them up by month. Some whips were like the specific whip, like start Huckleberry Farm, and some were like start the memorabilia of my choice. Here's what I'm thinking now, but it can change. So that was what I had planned. And the targets I set for that were 834 stitches a day, knowing that I can only really stitch 500 stitches a day. So my goal was to look at those goals. My thinking was to look at those goals as a menu and to try to hit 65%. So that would give me about 500 stitches a day. So I didn't think I would hit all of those goals, but I was trying to do 65% so that I'd stitch 500 stitches a day, 15,000 stitches a month, which is when I'm having a good month, that's about what I stitch. What happened instead was my life fell apart at the end of last year, and my daughter is 2, and that's, we kind of actually just exited a phase, but there was a period where there was 0 stitching around her, even if 2 other adults were in the room. My kids got very, very sick a few times. We had a cold snap where we had heat, but it didn't feel like we did. I've needed to run more destashes and stuff. It's just part of life, and if you're curious about that stuff, you can go. I have a video on like what, inside my $9,000 de-stash, kind of talking about like, what that's like. So I needed to run de-stashes more, and now I'm running I'm running them on a regular basis, so that takes away stitching time. And then I had a lot of small projects that needed to be starts and finishes, or needed to be picked up at like 100 stitches in and stitched to the finish. So I lost 38 days of the year so far. So last year I stitched every single day of 2024. This year I've already missed 38 days. So if I stitched every day at the end of the year, it would still only be like in the 80s. So it would still only be like a B for stitching every day. So that goal is gone. And I have stitched 45,000 stitches so far this year, which is an average of 7,400 a month. So it's about half of what I was hoping to be able to stitch in a month. And if I actually wanted to catch up with my original goals of hitting 65% of all the like targets and things I set out, I would need to stitch 29,000 stitches a month through the end of the year, which is not possible for me. So instead I decided to say, okay, that's just not going to happen. So we're not going to look at that. Let's look at last year, because even though last year was a year where I stitched every day, I didn't actually hit my like target of 500 stitches a day as an average. I stitched 133,000 stitches last year. And so I averaged 362 stitches a day. So I stitched every day, but there were days where I stitched 20 or 100 stitches, and not as many days where I stitched like 600 or 700 stitches to balance it out. So if I want to catch up and do as many stitches as I did last year, then I need to stitch 14,650 stitches a month through the end of the year. And that's a goal I actually feel like I can do. And if I escape this crazy, terrible, awful, no good, very bad year with the same number of stitches as last year, or even in the ballpark, I will feel amazing. So that is my new goal. And I will talk a little bit about what projects I'm going to be stitching them on specifically. And that's, besides being like my new goal, that's a goal that would actually feel achievable. Because in a year where I stitched every day and I had a lot more time to stitch, if I could stitch the same number of stitches, that would mean, you know, my stitching is getting more efficient. My kids are getting a little bit calmer. My life is getting calmer from the chaos of the first half of the year. So I would feel really good about that. And also, if I miss that but come pretty close, I would also feel really good about that. Because again, so far I'm hitting, you know, half of what I had wanted to hit. So if I could just end up as the same as last year, except for the number of days, like, great. Okay, so far this year, I have stitched on 37 total projects. I had, of those, I had 26 starts, and I worked on 11 whips. So we'll talk more about in my whip down for 2026. That might be some foreshadowing as to why I need to do that, because only 11 things of the things I've pulled out this year were things I worked on last year or the year before. Okay. So that's how I'm going to catch up, is I need to stitch 14,650 stitches a month. I think I can do that. Now, last year I had 63 total starts for the year. This year I've had 26 so far, so I'm not on pace to surpass that. But a lot of my ornament whip go are all these like little starts, and a lot of that is still outstanding. So I don't know. I'm not worried about like my total start number, but just it's interesting to me because there have been months where I have pushed both like April I didn't start anything, which is really weird for me. Okay. Last year I had 16 finishes. So this year so far I have had 10. Now I will say of the 10 finishes I've had, we'll talk about later again and why I need to whip down next year, why those finishes I don't feel like are equal to the quality of my finishes for last year. But I have had 10 finishes, and I know I will have a lot more finishes this year. So, okay, let's talk about what I want to do for the rest of the year. So I'm recording this July 3rd. So essentially my year is going to get broken up into 3 pieces. Prepare for the fair in July and August. September is going to be like Sampler September, but it's also going to be Make It Murder September. And that will just, in my brain, those are going to be big. And then October through December, I'm going to ease into seasonal stitching. I'm going to feel the comfort, the coziness, the spookiness, the jolliness. Like, I'm just gonna envelop myself in seasonal stitching, and that will just be a lovely year. So how is that gonna look? Okay, so for July and August, I went back and I looked at my goals for last year about like which pieces I wanted to work on and stuff. And one of the reasons I really wanted to work on Village of Hawthorne Hollow is that I wanted to enter something spectacular and monumental at the fair. I really wanted a big sampler. Not because I think I can win that category, because sampler is... Okay, so for example, my friend Amy Graham, who's Amy K. Graham on Instagram, won samplers last year with a full giant long dog. The year before, Bree, who is one of the Red Dirt Floss Works, that's her floss tube, and then she goes by Bree the Stitcher on Instagram. She won samplers the year before with Death by Cross Stitch. So I don't have any multi-year. It's getting really gloomy outside. So like, I think actually my light looks pretty good, but it is getting gloomy outside. So I don't have any multi-year giant samplers like that. And I don't even know if like a fully finished vintage Village of Hawthorne Hollow would compete to win that category. But the sampler category does feel like the most prestigious, and to win it, you do need something giant. So that was my thinking was, okay, well, I will just do something giant, not to win, but to level up like what I'm doing for the fair. it's not going to happen in the next 51 days that I have before I have to turn stuff in. So instead, I'm going to finish Blackened Sky. Now you might be thinking, Stephanie, you just started that. I hit 20% yesterday. I have less than 18,000 stitches left, and that is going to be my number one goal between now and the fair, is to finish Blackened Sky. If Blackened Sky is by the Primitive Needle, I didn't bring my whip in. I just showed it on Monday's Flosstube though, and I will probably post a picture of it pretty soon on Instagram. And you can see the pattern right here. It is spectacular. It's not a fully finished long dug, right? It's not that big. It's only 22,000 stitches, where Hawkwood Hollow is like 72,000, and I think Death by Cross Stitch is like 80,000. Like, it's not that level, but it would mean something to me. It would be the biggest piece that I'd ever finish, and also if I have the discipline to finish that in the next 2 months, then that's what I want to do. So my number one goal in July and August is to finish Blackened Sky. Then the other whips that I have identified that I want to finish before the fair are Annie Hyssop's Harvest Moon. It's my second favorite whip right now. It's the other whip that I'm obsessed with, and it only has 6,000 stitches left. It's also by the Primitive Needle. And it also is not, none of the things that I've picked maximize like my chance to win a category. The Oklahoma State Fair has a lot of categories. We get a lot of ribbons, so I have a lot of ribbons. But the highest I've ever placed in a category is second. Allison did win a category last year, so she has a blue ribbon. Allison's my sister, if you are seeing this and you don't normally watch us. So Halloween, finishing Annie Hyssop's Harvest Moon and entering it in Halloween. Halloween is a very competitive category as well. I think Jen Wilder, I think I'll tag her Instagram below. I think she won Halloween last year with a giant piece. And I think her Jack's Bash didn't even, came in did not win. So we're talking Jack's Bash didn't win that category. That is a large Halloween beautiful sampler. I believe the one that won was the Stephen King house or something like that. Like one of those giant witchy stitcher houses. So Annie Hyssop Harvest Moon is not going to compete against a giant witchy stitcher. So and obviously I'm only going against what I've seen in the past. I don't know what's going to come up this year, but I know that there's Oklahoma stitchers out there stitching amazing pieces. So just if I finish Annie Hyssop's Harvest Moon, it may not even finish better than I finished in Halloween last year with Baba Yaga, which I think was 4th, 5th, or 6th. It was in the middle of the ribbons. So, but it would feel really good to finish it. Then I also want to finish the Witch's Cabinet, which would be my other Halloween entry. This is by Witch's Garden Crafts. I only have 1,000 stitches left, so I just need to finish it. And then I want to finish Moon Glow, which I only have 500 stitches left. I have a little bit of backstitched, and all the other stitches are beads. So Moon Glow is by Nora Corbett. It's been on my whip list for almost 2 years. I absolutely need to finish it. And again, it probably will not win the category that would be entered in, which is figures, because Amy won that category again last year with a full finished memorabilia. But it would be nice to enter something in the category that I'm very proud of, that is an accomplishment to me. And then I have a couple other new starts from recently that I would like to go ahead and finish. So I just started Sweet Summer Come Again. I would like to finish it and enter it. It's unlikely to win its category, but or even place that well, but I'm loving it. So I just want to finish it and have it out this summer. And I'm going to enter it if I finish it. Twilight Moon by Tiny Modernist. Again, it's not that big, so it's very unlikely to do that well, but I'm loving it. It's only 2,100 stitches, and anything I finish, I will enter, so I might as well pick some smaller things to finish too. And then The Wings of Spring Salt by Velvet Pony, who's Pony Stitches. I am 40% of the way through this whip. It is so beautiful. I don't think it has a chance to win its category either, which would be animals, but I would be very proud. If I finish all those things and add them to the whips I have already finished, I would be very proud of what I'd be submitting, even if I didn't have anything that I thought was definitely going to win its category. And then next year, I'm going after, not sure what blue ribbon I want to go after, but I want to know that something I'm entering has the capacity to be the best, even if it doesn't end up being the best that year, because you just don't know what other people are going to enter. And I have, if I finish these whips and I add them with the stuff that I finished this year and the stuff I finished last year since the fair, so September through December, I'd be entering more stuff than I'd be entering last year. And some would be better, and some entries in their category would be better and some would not be. It just like, because I'll enter every little thing. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do between now and August 23rd when I have to take that stuff to the fair. Then at the end of August, and so I'll have a few days in August after that to like finish up. Oh, there's a few other whips that I'm going to keep out during this time. I'm going to keep out my Victorian bouquet. It's part of the Paula Vaughn stitch along that I'm hosting with Jen's Fiberweb. I love seeing you guys Paula Vaughn lips. My goal for this month is to get 1,000 stitches in it. That predates me deciding to go gung-ho on all this stuff, so I'm going to keep that commitment and keep posting my progress on that. I have a new start on my birthday. I'm going to start Seaside by Hello from Liz Matthews. I just have a small little goal of getting like 250 to 500 stitches in that, but it's my birthday start, so no matter how many stitches I get in it, I want to start it on my birthday. I want to start Dino's Garden by Una Buena Pieza. My son really wants it. I told him I'd start it for him on his half birthday, which is also in July. And I need to get at least enough stitches in it to have one of the dinosaurs fully done, probably a Pteranodon in the sky. And then I'm going to put I'm going to put like 500 stitches in Seaside Kingdom by Mirabilia because my friend Kylene just started it. And I was supposed to pick it up when she started it. It's a whole thing, but I do have it in my whip basket so I can put 500 stitches in it in July. And then Moonface Bell Pull is the full moon sal that I'm in with Jen's Fiberweb, Megan from Megan the White-Eyed Stitcher, and Amy from Amy Loves Totes. And I'm 300 stitches behind, but if every stitch along I'm in this year, being at 49% halfway through the year is actually like, so I'm going to keep that one up. I don't know if I will get caught up on what I'm missing, but I'm going to try to put at least the 640 stitches in July and August that they deserve. Then after August 23rd, after I drop my fair stuff off, anything I'm missing from any of those whips, I'm going to try to catch up on. And then I also had, let me go back to my other note where I have my 2025 plans. Oh, and as a little treat, if I actually finish all the things I'm supposed to finish, as a little treat, I can start like 4 things. Something from the Winds of Autumn book, which I just showed you guys in the last floss tube. My next night garden piece, if I finish the Twilight Moon, I can start the other night garden that I got. Warm Night by the Artsy Housewife, which has to be started in summer. And then I need to start the Diet Dr. Pepper can I got to do for my sister. So not sure I'll actually start all of those, but those are some options for if I get all of that work done and I get all this stuff in the fair in, and then now it's ready. Then I'll have, finish 7 things. I can start a few things. Then September, Sampler September is going hard. Makeup Murder is going hard. It's just going to be a little bifurcated, but it's going to be really fun. So I showed you guys in my last floss tube episode, I'm going to start Jane Wood 1853 by Maximum Cross Stitch. It's 44,000 stitches. It would be twice as big as the biggest thing I ever finish if I have finished Black and Sky. I'm going to start that September 1st. That is going to be both a sampler September start, and it's also going to be my hashtag Back to School Sal start. Back to School is hosted by Lauren, the New Hampshire Stitcher. And then I'm also going to start, it is what it is. I'm also going to start the Herbert Sister Sampler by Old Barn Stitching Co. This is a reproduction sampler. They were kind enough to gift it to me, and Sammy is also hosting a giveaway in my floss tube from this week for one winner to pick any Old Barn Stitching Co. pattern off the website that they want. They're PDFs, so they're easy to get. So if you did not enter that and you either want the sampler or you want any other thing on their website, make sure to go check out my last floss tube and enter it. I will link that below. And then I'm going to also start my Make It Murder pieces, because the way we're going to run Make It Murder this fall is it's going to start September 1st. It's going to end September 30th. That way we can put out the recap video in October, which is more fun. And I'm going to start Blooming Tiny Town and Seaside Tiny Town, which I go right here because, again, I keep all my Tiny Town patterns right here for some reason. Okay, so Blooming Tiny Town looks like this. And I'm going to I'm going to add elements so that it has the murder in, well, no spoilers, but a murder from Wicker Man, the movie, in it. And then I'm going to take this Seaside Tiny Town, I'm going to change the colors, and I'm going to redo elements of it so that it has the murder from, again, no spoilers, but Practical Magic in it. And both of these are about 3,500 stitches. So between these and starting the 2 samplers, that's probably all I will accomplish in September, but that will be really fun. In October, I'm going to allow myself to pick whatever I want to start from the Magical Cross Stitch book. This was on my original 2025 plans. And the Make It Murder starts were also on my original plans for the year. And then I'm also going to start, I have Golden Hour from the Nature Walk series from Sprouting and Lupine. I just saw Cat Hair Stitches, I believe it was Cat Hair Stitches, finished the most beautiful, like it looked so good. The fabric they chose looked so good. And I don't have fabric like that, but I have a similar-ish fabric, and I think I want to go ahead and start it in October. I may pull out all of my fall and October whips and things I want to start and do like a 31-day wheel situation like my friend Jen did last year. That looked really fun. My kids will be back in school. I may not post, I won't post it every day, but I might film it every day and do a little, but that could be fun. I might not have I won't have 31 things, but I might have like 10 or 12 or 15 where things can go on the board more than once. And then, I probably will start Snack-a-Lantern by Boomerang Stitches. And I have a lot of good Halloween whips to pull out. And then in November, for Nora November, I'm going to start Emerald Dragonfly, which is an out-of-print Nora Corbett. So Nora Corbett has the Nora Corbett line and the Mirabilia line. This is a Nora Corbett line. And it's not that big, but I don't think I can finish it in 1 month. And then I'll pull out all my other Nora whips. But I also have a Thanksgiving whip from Cottage Garden Samplings, the turkey, that I'm going to work on as well. And then in December, I might do a wheel thing again. If I liked the wheel thing in October, I might do it for my Christmas whips because I have Christmas whips. And then I looked, and I have so many Christmas things I want to start. I might just do like a Christmas whip and start-a-thon. Plus, I'll probably buy something at the Jingle Ball I want to start. I might have like ornaments that are almost done that I want to finish. So I'm going to let myself just do whatever I want. But in December, what I have on the list is Yule Goddess by Tiny Modernist, Forest Birds Wreath, which is an out-of-print Dimensions kit that I haven't started yet, Holly Wreath from Liz Matthews and Kathy Barrick that I got at the Jingle Ball last year, Believe by Erin Elizabeth, and Joyeux Noel by Susan Aki, which is freebie from our free Christmas patterns video I'll link below, and then Marshmallow World by Heartstring Samplery. Plus I have a lot of Christmas whips. I think if I like the wheel in October, I might do that again in December. And maybe try to do that as Flossmas. Would you guys be more interested in a Flossmas every day with a wheel spin for my whips and starts, or a weekly wrap up on those? Let me know. Okay, so those are the things I'm thinking of doing for the rest of the year. Let me go back to my original notes. I'm going to pull out my Whip Go board, and I'm probably not going to start things when they actually start, but my goal for next year is to let my Whip Go board roll into next year. So things that are started or not started stay. Things that are finished get replaced with other ornaments. So right now my Whip Go board is entirely ornaments from the Jingle Ball, but I'll be getting another book this year. So, and I have my goal originally was to stitch 500 stitches on every ornament that got called. I haven't done that. Instead, I did 500 stitches on one. And then for two others, I went ahead and finished them. So I had 1,200 stitches on one, 1,800 stitches on the other. So I'm not that far behind in stitch count, but I haven't started a lot of them. So I also want to just start as many of them as I want to start and try to finish some of them. And then next year, keep that whip go board going and replace the ones that I finished with things from this year's Jingle Ball book. And I also have some Alfornis ornaments where I've done I did 4 of the Winter Birds ornaments from Alfornis Embroidery, and I have the other 4 still to do. So I've got lots of things I could put on there. So that is the rest of my year. Like, go hard this summer, and then go bananas in September, and then have fun, cozy, seasonal vibes the rest of the year. And then in 2026, I need to whip down. And I don't need to whip down because I care about my number of whips. Like, I just UFO'd a bunch of things in the video about like the whips that I'm quitting, which I'll link below. And so I'm now at a place where I have 73 whips and I like them all, but I'm not pulling them out. So this year I had 10 finishes. Of the finishes I had this year, 5 were things I started this year. 3 were sals where I felt an immense amount of peer pressure to finish. 2 because I was hosting the sal. And 1 because it was Stitch for Pride and I really wanted to finish it in 2024, but I didn't, so I finished it January 5th. And then the other 2 finishes I have are things where I quit, where I'm restarting the piece, but what I have stitched is good enough to go ahead and get its own FFO. That means I have 0 finishes this year that are just like normal whips that I kept working on and finished. And the only reason I'll have 2 this summer is because I'm going to force myself to finish Moonglow and to finish the Witch's Cabinet. Everything else that I'm interested in finishing before the fair is like new starts from the last few months. So, also, my outstanding number of like unstitched stitches on all my projects, if you divide that number, I don't remember exactly what that number is. It's close to I think it was like right under 1 million. If you take whatever the number was, if you divide it by 15,000 and then divide that by 12. Okay. So basically I have 5 years worth of whips. And that's actually, last year I had 5 years worth of whips. Like if I couldn't buy another thing for 5 years and I wasn't allowed to start anything from stash, like I could stitch for 5 years. So that number has not changed either because between the stuff I finished and the stuff I UFO'd, especially because one of the things I UFO'd was like my biggest whip. My actual outstanding like stitch count isn't big. So I don't need to whip down because I care about the exact number of whips. I like it. It's more that like, I feel like in the 70s is a good emotional place for me to be. The 80s felt too much. And then, like I have not grown the number of outstanding stitches I have because so many things I started this year I also finished. And I've started less things in general and I UFO'd some things. So the reason I need to do whip down is because this year has proven to myself that when I'm in emotional turmoil, I will never pull out a whip unless I have a really good reason. The only whips I've pulled out this year were either things I intended to finish, Mirabilias, because I love participating in Mira May, and so that's like a special thing. And something where my friend was restarting it, and so I pulled mine out. I don't have any other whip progress on anything else. Even though I just did a whip parade, and I know for a fact everything in my whip pile is something I love and want to finish, and anything that wasn't already got UFO'd. So I have to come up with a different mechanism to work on my whips. And Whip Go, I like it for this ornament thing. For me, for like pulling it out for a little bit of progress, it always feels like the least important thing. to me, because it was like, well, if I don't get it 1,000 stitches this month, it'll just get it later. But then later never came, right? I've only worked on 11 whips at all this year, and they either were Mira's, things I finished, or something a friend pulled out. Like, that's not a great place to be. So I need a mechanism to force myself to pull stuff out of my whip pile. And I think the only way that I can do that is if I'm not allowed to start stuff. And so what I'm thinking for 2026, I want to finish 2025 just focusing on getting as many stitches as possible, go hard for the fair, get as many stitches, like meet my overall stitch goal and have fun. And then next year, and by having fun, I mean having fun on whips or starts. I think wheels for like Halloween and fall and Christmas stitching could be good to force me to pull out old whips as much as new starts, but just get, Stephanie just needs to survive this year. But then next year, I need to tackle this tower of whips. They're literally tall. Like, the way I'm sitting right now, my whips are taller than me. They take up 3 whole shelves. And they're not all on there. But when they are all, because they're like coming back from my whip parade, I'm still not fully unpacked. But anyway. So, I have 73 whips. 24 of them need less than 5,000 stitches to finish. Either because they were pretty small to begin with, or just because I have worked on them enough in 2023 or 2024 that they're like close enough to a finish. So something in less than 5,000 stitches, and I pulled it out, I could finish it in a month without like that is not hard. 32 of them need between 5 and 15,000 stitches, which again is not like that. It's work, but it's not like that much work. And then 17 of them are BAPs. But of those BAPs, 11 are Mirabilias. And in my head, Mirabilias are like kind of their own thing. So I would say I have like 6 true BAPs that like in the way that I think of stitching, they're 20,000 stitches or more. There's one that needs 17,000, but that one is Black and Sky. So the rest of them need 20,000 stitches to 59,000 stitches. But most are in the 20 to 30 that I feel like are BAPs. So what I want to do is I want to do 3 finishes to earn a start. I'm not going to be picky. This is starting in 2026. I'm not going to be picky about like if I finish 3 ornaments, can I start a Mirabilia? I gotta force myself to work on my whips. So any 3 finishes earns a start. And if I decide to start a 50,000 stitch project, then that is just going to be something I have to deal with later. But at the very least, I am finishing stuff. And I want to, for the most part, pick things up with the intention of keeping it out until it's done. So if I go look and I'm like, okay, what do I want to work on? I don't want to be putting like 100 stitches into 73 projects every month or whatever. I would really like to be like, okay, I'm going to pull out Golden Delicious. It will probably be out for 4 or 5 months. I'm not going to be monogamous on it, but it's going to stay in my whip pile with consistent progress until it's done. Or Coffee and Eggs or whatever. And anything that's a restart can also count as a whip for this, even though my whip pile, it's not part of the 73. But if I have started it and all I'm trying to figure out is like different fabric or whatever, if I have the fabric and materials and I want to go ahead and restart it, that's fine. It won't count as a start, but it needs to stay out until I finish it. I can get like fed up with stuff and put it away, and that's fine, but I can't pull something out thinking like I'll do 1,000 stitches on it. Like I need to have focused pieces that stay out until they're done. And then, so 3 finishes to earn a start. The exceptions would be new starts on my Whipco Jingle Ball Bobble board for next year would be exempt. Our Make It Murder Sal would be exempt because I host that and I have to finish the pieces, so I'm not gonna like pull the Paula Vaughn along. I will definitely have the piece from this year to pull out again next year. But Make It Murder, the pieces I start in September should be finished in September, so I will need different ones next year. And then retreats. If I'm at a retreat, I can't go to a retreat with a planned start the way that I did, like, to StitchCon, like, had things I wanted to start. But if I'm at a retreat and the retreat piece is overwhelming, or like friends want to start something, whatever, that's different. Like, I can do impromptu, unplanned retreat starts if I'm at retreats with no penalty. Okay. Oh, and if I want to, if there is another Stitch for Pride, which Dee said they weren't sure if they're going to do another one or not. If there is one, I will buy it, but I won't start it till I earn the start. If my friends want to do another full moon piece next year, I really want to keep doing that. It's so emotionally and community fun to have like something like that going on. So if we pick out a different piece, that would be exempt. So Big Sal's would not be exempt. I would need to earn the start. I can buy it during the window, but I need to earn the start. But the full moon, like, only happens when it happens. So that would be exempt. And then the goal is not to get my WIP number down, because between the earned new starts and like retreat new starts and stuff, I don't know if I would get my number down. The goal is just to take my WIPs out and work on them and finish some of them. And if somehow it ended up in a way where most of my starts were finishes and I wasn't working on that many older WIPs, fine, I'll figure it out. But I don't think so, because you can only physically start so many things at a retreat. The WIPCO ornament board, their starts, but they're like ornaments. It's like not that, you know, it's like, that's not it. That's not consequential. And the Make It Murder Cell pieces are all things I try to do in a month. So it's not like I would really be adding a ton outside of those parameters. And the nice thing about retreat pieces and the full moon piece and the Make It Murder pieces is they're all things that have peer pressure and natural endpoints. So like, you start something in a retreat, you want to kind of finish it by the next year, or you want to finish it, like if it's a cute little, like the Midsummer Stitch piece I did last summer, it's like you want to do it right away. It's not something that lingers. All right, so that is where we are. Ooh, under an hour. Who am I? Okay, so that's all the stitches I did, all the stitches I did not do. What part of the first half of the year goals can continue to serve me? Not much. Just crazy year. I like those as a theory, and I wouldn't mind even trying them again in the future, but I'm not getting my WIPs out enough. So I just need to switch things to be a focus on my WIPs for next year. And this year is really like, can we just get through? Can we just enter some cool things in the state fair, get through the holidays, and start over? Can 2025 go away? So, okay. I'm going to go edit this and post it. You will see me again this weekend. If you're a D-Stash, I was going to say girly, but if you're a D-Stash person, come watch the D-Stash video. If you can follow my Etsy store if you just want to see things go up as they go up. If you are curious about what I'm doing to prepare for Midsummer Stitch, you'll see that. I got my Midsummer t-shirt in, Stitch t-shirt in, so I'm going to wear that in the video. Very excited. If you don't have one yet, you can order them from Lindy Stitches. They're really cute. Annie, who is XO Needle in the Hey XO, designed them, and they are so cute. All right, you'll see me, and then Flosstube Monday. I hope it works out, but if it works out, it works out, and it will be fun. Okay, see you soon. Bye.